Alright, okay, so what I wanted to do is very quickly explain this Cheezosaurus thread in very simple terms without going into the math too much. I'm going to try and cover the basics which every player should know, and I'm going to prove why this is so, basically. Because Tribal Wars don't actually give any information officially out, unfortunately, but people like Cheezosaurus have figured some quite important things of how the game works, and these are things which every single player should know, but unfortunately the majority do not. So the way fighting works in Tribals is there's 3 phases. In the first phase, Rams attack the wall, they strip the wall of its bonuses, and that's it. They do not destroy the wall in this phase at all. The wall is completely intact. The stripping happens in levels. It's not a percentage. It happens in levels. And what I mean by that is a level 20 wall could be stripped by 1 level, making a level 19 wall. The wall is still level 20, but for the fight, which is phase 2, the wall will be treated as if it was a level 19 wall. But in theory, the wall is still a level 20 wall because there's no destroying that happens until the 3rd phase. When the 3rd phase occurs, then the wall is destroyed, according to some variables which I'm not going to go into because they can be quite confusing. It's hard to predict how many wall levels will be destroyed in the 3rd phase because it's dependent on how good your victory was or how bad your loss was, and that obviously is going to be dependent on things like luck, with how lucky you were with phase 2. So the important part of Rams, in my opinion, though, is phase 1, because the actual destroying of walls is not the important part. The important part is stripping the wall's bonuses. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you basically some simulator results of Rams in effect. Now, the way, very simply, the way that the 2nd phase works is, this isn't entirely how it works, but just so you know, it calculates the offensive strength of the attacking army and the defensive strength of the defending army, and with a formula, it figures out who should lose what troops. That's not important for this guide though. But what it means is, if I attack with exactly the same offensive strength army, I will kill the exact same troops of the defender, providing my offensive strength army is all of the same type. I'm not going to go into that right now though, but just know that on Archer Worlds there's 3 different unit types. On normal worlds it doesn't actually matter. I'm on an Archer world, but in my examples I'm just going to be showing you normal general units. I won't show you the cavalry and the archers. But they don't change how Rams work at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in 1,000 axemen and 213 Rams, with a level 20 wall. And I'm going to give the defender 1,000 swordsmen. The result is the defender wins. The defender loses exactly 417 swordsmen. The offensive strength of the attacking army is exactly 40,426. I can show you it here. That's the exact strength of that attack. It's 4,426. Now, so I can prove that so I can prove that excess RAMs wouldn't help, what I'm going to show you now is a result if you had an absurd amount of RAMs which had exactly the same offensive strength. So if I delete the swordsman here and put in 20,000 RAMs like that, it equals exactly the same offensive strength. Oops, my mic moved. So those two armies have exactly the same offensive strength. And when I show you the outcome, the defender loses exactly the same amount of troops. This means in the first phase there is a limit to the amount of RAMs you can have that will help you. There is a limit. Now I know what this limit is. It's 50%. And to prove that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to attack the defender with an army which is equal to this, but I'm going to have the wall at 50% already. Now this army is also the exact same amount of offensive strength, and when I simulate this, the defender also loses exactly the same amount of troops. The reason why I have 3 RAMs in this attack is just so I can get the exact amount of offensive strength. The 3 RAMs actually do not have any impact on the first phase because it's too few amount. Now, what this means is if I go to this chart here, is because a wall can only go down by 50%, if they have a level 20 wall, you can see by this graph you need 213 RAMs to reduce it by 10 levels. So the magic number is 213 for RAMs. You can go more RAMs than that because obviously this isn't destroying the wall, this is just stripping the bonuses. Personally, I do not believe that RAMs are that efficient at destroying walls, because RAMs only have 2 offensive strength, which means in the second phase, RAMs aren't doing that good for you. They're not helping you that much. They only help you in the first and the third phase. But the third phase is dependent on how many of your RAMs die in the second phase. And because RAMs only have 2 offensive strength, whereas catapults have 100 offensive strength, RAMs really do not help you win the second phase. They only help you in the first phase and the third phase. The first phase is their important phase because they do something which no other unit in the game can do. The third phase, both catapults and RAMs can do. So, no matter how many defending troops they have, if you have 213 RAMs, the fight will be treated as if they have a level 10 wall. Now, the reason why this paladin weapon is so good, Carol's Morning Star, it is the best defensive paladin weapon against high level walls. It's obviously not going to help you much if they have low level walls, and if they do, you should probably go for the more famous weapons, like the battle axe and the lance. But when you're fighting someone with high level walls, by far the Morning Star is the best weapon in the game. The reason being, isn't this line here? Increases the damage caused by RAMs by 100%. Now, this doesn't really tell you that much, but from what I understand, it's not talking about this. It's not talking about the offensive strength. It does not make this a 4. What it does is, I believe, is it doubles the effectiveness of your RAMs in phase 3. When it doesn't help in phase 1. This line here, though, this means in the first fighting phase, the wool is damaged more. That is the important part of Carol's Morning Star. Now, it doesn't actually tell you in the game how much more, but I can tell you straight out that it's 50% more. And I can prove it. I'm going to show you in the simulator. So if we start off... right. So we're going to show it with the Paladin. We're going to put in this amount of units, and it's going to equal that amount of offensive strength, 40,576. So 1,000 axemen, 213 rams, and 1 paladin. And we're going to select the Morning Star and calculate. Now, we were obviously killing more units in this simulation than our previous simulations, because our previous simulations did not have a paladin. And just for the fact of having a paladin, he does have 150 offensive strength. Now, we killed 556 units of the defender. The defender still won, but he lost 556. This is significantly more than last time, because the wall is also being lowered a significantly more amount. Now, I can show you that with a ridiculous amount of rams, we will not destroy the wall any further in the first phase, because I'm going to show you with an army with exactly the same offensive strength, which is pure ram and has that paladin. So this will show you that you do not need more rams to benefit from this. You do benefit from the same amount of rams. So this is with exactly the same offensive strength, but with a full ram army. And what this means is, in the first phase, the wall in theory would have been destroyed more, but because there's a cap, it hasn't. But it gives the exact same amount of losses. Now, if we have an army which goes against the level 5 wall with exactly the same amount of offensive strength, but with not enough units to, not enough rams to affect the wall. So this is equivalent to the other armies you've just seen in its power. And I get rid of Carol's Morning Star, because this is just a normal army. The same amount of swordsmen die. Now, these attacks all had exactly the same offensive strength. They all had exactly 40,576. So I've just proved that no matter how many rams you have, if you have the ram weapon, a level 20 wool becomes level 5. That's the max. A level 20 wool at its max can be level 5. This is actually half and then halved again. So it's 20 divided by 2 divided by 2. Which is also 75%. So you can destroy a wall by up to 75% of its levels if you have the ram weapon. But if you do not have the ram weapon, you can only remove the bonuses by up to 50%. So the amount of defense that the defender has obviously been severely reduced. The difference between level 10 and level 5 is 24%. Now that's not including the amount of flat, if I show you the wall, that's not including the amount of basic defense that the wall has. So I hope I've now explained that to you, and I hope other people can start figuring it out for themselves. Maybe I just made the game hard for myself by teaching other people how to play. But one last comment I will make is there is obviously the point of having more rams than 213. and that is for the third phase. For example, if you're attacking a target which you won't take out immediately, or you want to make sure it has no walls when your noble train lands, you could have more additional rams to make sure the walls level is reduced in the third phase to 0. Or if you are to lose the fight, you may want to just make sure that the walls are destroyed, so your next nuke gets to fight a wall-less city. But for the most part, catapults are better at that job, because catapults do help more in phase 2 than rams do. Rams are only really efficient up to 213. After that, they start to become severely inefficient to have. So yeah, I hope I explained everything. And yeah, good luck.